All right, we're going to be talking about everyday carry, and I want to explain my idea of everyday carry. Thank you for watching, and I hope you'll subscribe. I like your comments, and I will tell you that for my everyday carry, this and this alone, this Victorinox Rambler is my true everyday carry. It has scissors, it has a nail file with a small screwdriver, it has a small Phillips driver with a small bottle cap opener, it has a small pin blade, it has a toothpick and tweezers, and mainly because of its size, I always carry this every day in every circumstance. I find the pin blade is a little bit too small for almost anything except opening an envelope, but I find that the screwdriver comes in handy, and I find that the nail file and the screwdriver here comes in handy, and the toothpick and tweezers come in handy, and because it's so small, and I made a little leather sheath for it, I just carry this every single day. I mean, every man's got to go to a funeral, and every man's got to go to a wedding sooner or later, that you, maybe not a suit and tie, but you're dressing up nice, and you're being decent. And in times like that, just to limit what's in my pocket, the only thing I may carry is this little Rambler, the Swiss Army knife, but I will carry that even in my dressiest of clothes. Now, the second category for me is a little more what we might call business casual. And in business casual, which is more often, it's most every day, or several days a week, I'm in business casual. And in business casual, I'm going to carry my Rambler, and then I'm going to carry something that's a little bit larger. And I want to pull some of those out and show you what I carry, because it could be one of a number of things. I will carry, when I'm doing business casual, I will carry my Rambler, and then I will carry one of these. I'm less likely to carry the SOG Twitch 2, but it's a sweet knife. I unlock it, assisted opening, not too big a size, thin. I did this as an everyday carry for quite a while when I first got it several years ago. I love carrying it, got a great size to it. It's a lockback. Assisted opening, I love an assisted opening. I haven't carried that as much anymore, and probably I should go back to my very original everyday carry. This is my Victorinox Tinker. I got this Tinker at Christmas in 1982 from my girlfriend, who became my wife, and I had kind of had my eye on this because a good friend of ours, both of us, knew a guy that carried one of these, and I just thought it was great, and she bought this for me for a Christmas present. The Tinker has a main blade, and it has a small blade. I have altered this small blade because I used my knives and I broke the tip off of this one, so I filed it down to get a tip back on the small blade. It's got a large screwdriver with a bottle cap opener. It's got what is very handy. If you have a Swiss Army knife, I would recommend you try this. This is a really good can opener. You put it on the edge of a can and you start working it like this, it cuts very well. This one I wanted the Tinker back then because I couldn't figure out why I would ever need a corkscrew, but this Phillips on the back of it is very handy. And then there's an awl, and that'll punch holes in a lot of things. The toothpick and tweezers. I carried this probably for most of 30 years, every day, everywhere, for everything. I wore the silver shield off this. This is a Victorinox. It's not a knockoff. It says Victorinox right there. It is a Tinker. It's the smaller Tinker. I now own a larger Tinker too, and I've done a video about my Swiss Army knives. I cracked and broke off the piece of the plastic handle, and I epoxied that back on. At the time, I didn't know that you could buy replacement handles, but I don't carry this anymore for everyday carry, although it's the right size. I don't carry it because I don't want to lose it in any form or fashion. It's very important to me. My very first knife my wife bought me, and she bought it before we were married, so that used to be my everyday carry. These are the ones that end up being my everyday carry now. I have one more in here, and I rotate between these four Until recently, I didn't have this one. This is a Parker Eagle knife that I bought for my dad as a Christmas present, probably back in about 1981 or so. I'm just guessing. And back when they made knives with brass and nickel silver, and I loved it because one-hand opening knives was becoming a new thing, and this was a one-hand opening knife, liner lock, good size for the pocket, and I just bought that for my dad for a present. And I've been watching him all these years, making sure he didn't lose this thing. And when he had to move to a different situation a few months back, he gave this to me, and I cherish it. And so nowadays I carry it as everyday carry. Not every day, but most days. But I also rotate in and out this Gerber. I don't remember the name of this. Seemed like a Submariner or something silly like that, or some marine name, but it's a one-hand assisted opening. Once you get it started, it just pops open. Got a plunge lock right up here, which I really think is a great innovation. I wouldn't mind owning a few more knives with plunge locks. Good size to carry. You can see all of these are about the same size. I bought this little Gerber quite a while back. I have no idea what they call it. I bought it because it's very thin. It's got a number on it, 1910313A. Very thin, really good size, big enough blade to open boxes and to do some cutting, even food if I wanted to. It's a liner lock, thin in my pocket, and that's great. Only problem with this one is the liner lock sits too low for you to just take your thumb and push it over. So I have to get my fingernail down in there to close it. But I'm not big on having to flip open a knife really quick or close it really quick. I mean, it comes in handy sometimes, and the size of that makes a good everyday carry. And then I bought this Kershaw because I just thought this was magnificent. Now, to be honest with you, when I first saw it, all I saw was that profile, and I thought that was a wonderful profile for a knife. Just all around. It's a Lee Williams design. It's number 1770. But as I got ready to buy it, I knew it before I bought it, but I realized that it had an assisted opening, and that's this button at the top. And it doesn't use a spring, it simply uses leverage. And when you push down on this, it makes that knife pop. And you can see the size of that. It's really good for everyday carry. In fact, this is what I've been carrying the last few days, along with my Rambler. So I like to carry these more with my business casual, where I've got something that I can use, but to go along with my Rambler, a bigger blade than the Rambler has. My other category is when I'm at home working around the yard. So I have little bigger knives that I might carry in my pocket, and as everyday carry. It'll always be the Rambler, but this Gerber that I picked up from my sister-in-law, she gave this to me. Assisted opening, it's got a side that you unlock it, it pops open. She had it, didn't know where she got it exactly. Somebody has ground off the serrations on the blade. It is a really good size for me, and this is pretty much what I carry every day now in the yard. And it locks open and it locks closed, and you can see we're all familiar. It's just a little bit bigger than these other knives that I carry for business casual. And then this Charade Old Timer I found to be really good for that. Again, this is older. This was my dad's. I have no idea when he got it, but it's back when they had nickel silver and brass. And I thought it was a little bit too slim when I first got it from my dad, but I use it a lot and found out that I really like the size and shape of that blade. This $5 Ozark trail knife, decided I really like the design of it. I like the blade size and the design, and picked that up for $5. You can't beat that. I'll carry that around in the yard. It just is one-handed opening, but it's not assisted, so it's really hard to beat this Gerber for a one-handed opening. And so those I carry for everyday carry around the yard. When I'm doing this, I'm likely to carry a fixed blade. And I carry a fixed blade just because if I'm doing something in the yard, I want to have a good sturdy knife to do something with. And these are the ones that I rotate through. This is a little knockoff of a blade design that was real popular many years ago. And this is a Rough Rider knife, but I like the design and it wasn't expensive. And it's a good little knife, fixed blade, good for working in the yard. So I made a little leather sheath for that. I've shown this one before, this buck knife that I found in the road. I had several of you commentators, which I thank you very much, who enlightened me about this knife. It's been beat up real bad. I found this in the road, but it is really sturdy and a thick blade for its size. And sometimes I just use that in the yard. And if I just want a knife that'll do the job, and if I stick it in the dirt, that's fine. This is a funky setup, and I just have to tell you, this sheath came from a knife that I bought from Marbles that the blade broke on it. I was disappointed, but the sheath is kind of heavy. This is a knife called the Timberwolf. That's just a catalog knife, I think, made in China. My dad got this somewhere, and I love the design of this. I love a flat ground, and it's a good size for my hand. And this makes a good yard knife because I don't think it's expensive at all, but it gets the job done. And I found that it fits, although loosely, in this Marbles knife. I just turn it backwards so that the tip will fit all the way down in there. But I dangle it from my belt loop. I picked this up at a tractor supply store, a Camillus titanium coating, it says, and it doesn't really have a name. I've seen these at big box stores and stuff, and they weren't expensive, less than $15. And I was skeptical at first. The handle seems funky to me, but it turns out that this rubberized handle is really comfortable. It's cheap, so I don't have to worry about it in the yard. I altered the shape of it. If you have one of these, you know it's got a big hump right there. I don't know what for. I altered the shape, and makes a great yard knife because it doesn't have to be fancy. The sheath lacks a lot. I got it on a dangler, which is, I just put a electrical strap, a tie strap down on that thing to hold this in place. And the sheath lacks greatly, but I bought this buck, maybe the only buck I've ever purchased, although I own several that I've been given. I bought this buck. It's a small Selkirk. They make this in a larger model too. I bought it when it went on sale. I love the design of it. I'm not disappointed. It is wonderful for yard work. Got a butt cap that is designed for pounding, and so I pound once in a while. It's great for chopping for its size. So these are the everyday carries for the yard work. I have two left that, when we talk about everyday carry, I have to tell you that I try to keep knives in my vehicles. And I lost a vehicle in a wreck not too long ago, and lost the knives that I carried in there. But these I carry in my van. This is a CRKT neck knife. Never got used to carrying a neck knife around my neck, but wonderful design. Nice little fixed blade, something to keep in the vehicle, handy to have. I keep that in there. And then this is a very similar to this other Ozark trail. This was a knife that was broken, given to me with a bunch of other broken knives. I really liked the shape and the design of it, so I took some thick copper wire that I had, and I put some popsicle stick wood in there and shaped it and peened it over, drilled some holes, and I keep that in my van for something to play with while I'm sitting in traffic as anything else. But I keep those in the vehicles, and I will keep other ones in the other vehicle once I get that established. These are what I consider everyday carry. This Rambler is literally every day, always have this on me. Everything else I'm changing out one way or the other. Comment, tell me what your favorite is. Thanks for watching. Subscribe.